Welcome back, Ninja community, and persons that might have watched my quality statement and disclaimer video. If you haven't seen that already, you should probably go and check that out. In this video, I'm going to be covering some more Nunchucku moves. This is a continuation of my previous videos. And if you haven't seen those, you should probably go look at those first, as this is getting into more advanced moves. So advanced. Okay, so in this video, I'll be covering some double nunchucku techniques as well. I'll also be showing a neck crank. I will not be covering a neck break, and I might not show a throw. Or throw a show. Okay, anyways. So some of these techniques could be considered deadly. I will go over my quality statement and disclaimer mostly out of liability, and also making sure that it's more freely viewable, because let me just go over it real quick. Here we go. You ready? Okay. The viewer understands my quality statement disclaimer video. Additionally agrees that this video could be treated as is with ballistic protection, which in short means I don't have a seal on it, therefore I don't guarantee the techniques and or your application of the techniques. And if you're watching this video with the intention of using its content in committing a crime, that is a crime. Actually using my content in committing a crime is additionally a crime. Also, the viewer understands that this is my intellectual property that I'm allowing others to view, and as it is, could be treated as is with ballistic protection. Means it being provided as me allowing people to view it. It being provided should not be inhibited from the people who can lawfully obtain it. So, moving on to some simple moves. Now, I will talk a little bit about Bruce Lee, some of his philosophies, some of the things that he says actually makes me think that he might have been actually a real ninja. The famed Bruce Lee, one of the world's greatest martial artists of all time, he even became like an official daoshi, like post-mortem, and years after his death, the Ip Man awarded him the title of Sifu. So that's pretty ninja to get your blessing off of being a master at an art post-mortem. That's like after he was dead. So anyway, some of the things he actually says makes me think that he might have been a real ninja. For instance, some of the quotes that he quotes. A lot of people attribute Bruce Lee to some famous quotes. He made some of his own. However, a lot of times Bruce Lee is quoting other philosophers. He studied philosophy in college. Okay, so, but some of the things, the particulars that he does, like for instance, we'll just run through this real quick. For instance, Plato throws out some guesses or misquotes. He gives about 7, and 5 are completely different of what a missing inscription is on the base of the Apolloian statue that was destroyed. One was destroyed and the other one was lost during the Trojan War. Okay, someone had taken the gold one and destroyed the middle part of the remaining statue that wasn't gold. It would make sense. So after everyone who knew what it said, what it actually said, was all dead, they just destroyed the middle part. But Bruce Lee guesses closer than Plato. By misquoting Plato slightly, he gets the inscription better than Plato gets it. And that's before the statue, the Apolloian statue, was rediscovered within my lifetime. And Plato was thousands of years closer to the event. Yet he gives us more than 5 guesses or misquotes. And Bruce Lee, who I believe died shortly before I was born, Bruce Lee got it closer than Plato and never once misquoted or never once quoted any of the other 5 quotes. Right? So some of the things that he says makes me think that he was a real ninja. like first know thyself, and the middle part was destroy. The last part was these are the keys to victory. And I imagine that probably had Plato racking his brain trying to figure out what the inscription said, or trying to remember if he supposedly knew it. Okay, so some of the things that Bruce Lee says, like his philosophies that don't get hung up in style. Like if you already know how to move, like in your form, like if you have a solid foundation, you can build on that. In my opinion, real ninja moving, like moving around, is mostly borrowed from other forms, or has very few real moves in real ninja things. Okay, and that's just my opinion. A lot of times a real ninja will not even start training someone who's not already trained in some form of martial arts. Okay. So you got to look at the context of where these forms had started from, right? You have your like karate and taekwondo, which kind of evolved around the same place, around the same time. There'll be people who argue this one, but you got to look at the context. You can stack those guys up in a narrow corridor, like in the streets of where they originated from, and they could fight and not interfere with each other. And then like with like silat, like real silat, not the pancake silat, but real silat, it's more effective on a boat, where like the Indonesian pirates would be. They're on a boat and it's going to be moving. You really can't throw high kicks on a boat. So like with pancake silat, they sort of meshed some high kicks, some flashy moves in there to kind of basically compete in tournaments, to compete in other styles and forms. So in my opinion, pancake silat is not true silat. True silat you can use on a Chinese junk boat or an Indonesian pirate ship. Okay, so if the footwork that you have is solid, you can build on it, and these strikes and techniques you can sort of incorporate into your form. I'll demonstrate more on some of the moves that I had showed previously, and I'll also show some double nunchucku moves as well. Now, again, if you haven't seen my other videos, you should probably go and watch those. Okay, now the first thing you should always do before you begin training is always check the rope. Always. That's important. Okay, you don't want a piece flying off in random directions. Okay, so this move here, although it seems simple, and I have described in my other video that this is to grab an opponent behind the head, right? And that this is to resist it, right? Okay, so throwing this around their head, and this can be done from different directions and from like different angles, right? But for simplicity, we'll stick to this one here, okay? If an opponent has decided to come in closer to take away my advantage of having a longer weapon, right, having reach, they decided to come in closer, and I wrap the nunchuck around the back of their head, right? I can do a neck crank by twisting here, right? Bringing them together, just like this, and pivoting my entire body as I pull this way. This gets into a neck crank, okay? I will not cover neck breaks or throws in this video, okay? So, it's also important to move when you first learn the techniques or movement, right? It would probably be easier to start just simply walking forward with the weapon. I guess I won't really cover the triangles and the catches, but from here, you have the catch, or what it is it is a catch to an opponent's weapon or hand, right? And that could work into other things, okay? Okay. The next thing I would show would be this catch here. This works into more disarming techniques and other things that I will cover in another video, hopefully. So here. Now with the neck crank, this move, right? With a neck crank, typically the best place to hold a nunchuck is in the center. This gives you a balance between power and control. But in a neck crank, this gives you more of a fulcrum, more of a lever action for when you go to pull. Now as you're pulling the nunchucku, the resistance of an opponent's head will naturally pull your hand closer to the end, okay? And when you do the crank, which you're just essentially bringing them together, you're tucking your elbows in, okay? And then you're twisting your body and bending down. It's much easier for you to do this movement here than it is for someone to resist it. So it can work against a stronger, bigger opponent. Okay, the next technique, so we have this. Okay, and I did cover the resistance to the around the back of the head. There is the behind the head throw, which essentially just puts the nunchuck to here and gets you used to this. Okay. Once you get here, you push your elbow out. This helps you resist a neck crank. Okay. Once someone has gotten familiar with moving with the techniques that I had shown in the other videos and has gotten used to, let's see, we have the flail technique, right? Or moving it high and down. Okay. That's from here. And moving around with it is important because in a real fight you want to be able to move around. Now this is a set of nunchucks I made here, doing some ninja arts and crafts. This is a ridiculously long set of nunchucks. I think these are like each 2 feet long. Okay, so once someone has gotten to doing the simple moves, right? The simple moves, and of course, gotten familiar with moving with it. Okay. The next set of techniques with the nunchuck, with double nunchuck, that I would show is I would go into the triangles at the same time. Let's see, triangles at the same time. Here. Okay. Now, before they got into triangles, I believe this would be better to start with. Of course, getting them to move. Okay, even if you're doing this side to side. Right? Okay. So the next technique after the triangles would be this one that is covered in my other video, okay? And of course moving. I think I only cover it using one hand, using one nunchucku. Okay. The next move would be an overhand flail. This is a new technique in the videos that I have been demonstrating. I will break it down. Okay. What you're doing is you're going one over and one over. Okay. And I think I covered the hand switch, this one. Okay, which should make this easier. Okay, you're doing one over like this. Okay. Guess I should break it down more. Okay. And that again is with two 2. Probably start from here, down, and then over, and then around, and then over, 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 over. And then the spin, and then moving. At this point, being able to move with the other ones, doing this and being able to stop, as they have already gotten familiar with these catches, right, from like here, they should be able to stop. That one is kind of difficult to disarm. Okay, also this pop here. Right, this one here. What this is you are disarming another opponent who has nunchucks to think, or you could even be blocking another weapon. Hopefully not a knife or sword. Okay? This motion, what it is that this is catching at or near the rope, going over it. Okay? It would look like this as you have caught it. Okay? Right? And they typically still have their hand on the other one. And this downward movement, much like you're tucking your body when you do a neck crank, this downward movement is much harder to resist because it is you typically pulling away from the thumbs. This downward movement and then here. Okay? So that is the technique. Okay? And that is also why it is important to have already gotten familiar with the strike here. Okay? As it is in my previous videos. Now, there are some forms that practice different techniques with the nunchucku. You have to look at the application of where it came from and what moves that they did. Like, for instance, I don't particularly practice throwing the nunchuck behind the back of the head, okay, because it's not really part of any of the forms that I really practice. Okay, so I've been training with nunchucku for a very long time, and I still sometimes pick up new techniques or movements. Like recently, within the past 2 years, I've picked up the infa-spin, and I'm still kind of getting familiar with it and still kind of learning it. Bruce Lee, he uses nunchucks in movies, and he's pretty good at it. I've seen one young martial artist out there who does nunchucks just as good, if not better, than Bruce Lee. And he's not one of those famous actors. Okay, so, and I do think that Bruce Lee was one of the best martial artists of all time. And he got, awarded the title of Sifu after he was dead by the legendary Ip Man. Not the famed Ip Man, the legendary Ip Man. The martial artist who took challenges of boxers. And I've seen some MMA fighters out there try to argue the facts. You got some facts, right? You've got the Ip Man was already famous before Bruce Lee rose to fame. He was called legendary for a reason. And the timeline of when they altered the rules of boxing lines up with a famed match. And they've denied it even back in 2014 when that MMA fighter died in a real street fight against a scrawny guy who had a knife. Didn't know how to use it. He just pulled a knife, wasn't even trained in it. And he died. He ducked in. He basically got stabbed up in the carotid artery and died. Those are the facts. An MMA champion died in a street fight against a scrawny guy who pulled a knife, didn't even know how to use it. And the Ip Man, the knife was part of the art he taught. Okay. There's a lot of moves with the nunchucku that is not made public knowledge. It is known as a striking weapon, and it is a striking weapon. Most people don't know that it is also a very powerful grappling weapon, especially with throws and neck breaks. I will not cover neck breaks in these videos. That should not be made public knowledge. Okay. So if you like my video, feel free to hit like hard like a ninja and subscribe to my channel to be alerted for when I do videos on YouTube. And you can check me out on Facebook under my artist name, Mel-El, or my 10th ninja name. That's Mel-El. And comment on this video, especially if you'd like to comment. And of course, you can share my video with people who are ninja, but not with people who have to be ninja, because they might accidentally learn something. And until next time, stay ninja, my friends. Oh, yes, there's also one more thing I would like to cover. And that, of course, is